So, where the focus goes, the
Yeah.
energy goes. And these are small examples, but they apply in big, big, big ways too. They apply in societal ways. And how are we societies? What are we focused on? Are we focused on arguments that we're never going to settle, that are driven mainly by whatever social media algorithms, or the agenda of media moguls? Are we allowing our societal minds to be controlled by the focus that does not serve us as a society? I mean, that's part of it. Mark Twain has this wonderful quote I love, which is, "I'm an old man and I've experienced many troubles, some of which actually happened." I paraphrase,
Hmm.
but a lot of the troubles that we experience are really the troubles that we have in our mind. The mosquito example is a perfect metaphor of that. And while you're focused there, there's all these other troubles you're not paying attention to that you could. What about all those other troubles? They come and go. They come and go. And so the very often, especially when I've had people I've coached or through life, I'm not like a life coach, but I've had many engineering interns and other goal setting um, seminars that I used to teach and things like that. If you ask somebody, what do you want? Let's say that you ask them about a relationship. Take you know, a woman who's 30 years old. She's been in and out of dating and says, what do you want? Well, very often you'll get, well, I don't want this. I don't want that. Oh my God, I definitely don't want that. Most anybody will say this, right? But they'll start to give you the list of things they don't want. And again, where the focus goes, the energy goes. So if your focus is on a lot about what you're not wanting to see, um, what you're going to see is a lot of that in the world, because you're just observing that your mind is picking up as a filter on where you're pointing the spotlight, basically. Like awareness is as thinking of awareness like a spotlight. You can see many things in the world, but you can't see them all at once. And when your awareness turns the spotlight towards a certain thing, that's a thing that represents the world at that moment. But there are many, many, many things in the world. Many ways to be, many ways to think, many ways to live. So when you're focused on the things you don't want, you tend to see those things in the world, and you start to paint the world that way. So then the next step is like, well, what would be the thing that you do want? Well, you kind of take the opposite role. Then you can go down that list. Oh, okay, I have a better sense of what I do want. And if you keep going down that journey, there is a process and method there where you end up with is what you really are wanting is a feeling or an emotion. And so the feeling
Hmm.
that is the secret. There's a wonderful book called "The Feeling Is the Secret," tiny book. It's written in a lot of religious terms, but Neville Goddard is the author, and he was very influential in the 50s and 60s, speaking about this sort of thing. But this idea that maybe the modern day language would be, manifesting methods or something like that. Um, but if you go down the path of where are you, where do you want to go? If you get back, well, I don't want this, I want that, I don't all the I don't wants, then you can just kind of turn down, okay, what the I do wants. Now list the I do wants, and then like, well, okay, what are the most important I do wants? Okay, narrow on those. Okay, we can't have it all. That's great to have a huge list. All the better, I say. Fantastic. Make a massive list. Let all these things bubble through your subconscious. I do exercises with people, like it takes 15 minutes. Help sort out priorities. When you feel like you have too many options, it's overwhelming. So ways to like narrow down the options by finding out what is really important to you in this moment. Yes, maybe you want to, travel with the Bedouins at some point. But is that something is that as important, the most important thing you want to do in the next 6 months? If it's so, great. But as you list all the things out, let's focus more on what you're immediately drawn to. And I also believe that the things you are drawn to you also. And I can give you some amazing stories about that. But I always believe that what your mind is really doing is connecting to some place and space, a time and space outside of you, or not really outside of you. If you identify with your ego, you often believe, I am this body at this certain place and in this certain time. But if you realize that you exist at multiple planes of consciousness at the same time, then the body is just an aspect of your identity, and it has a personality. But outside of that are things outside personality and outside ego. And you're really part of a field. And if you want to get down into the physics of it, you know, the edges of the field are the edges of identity are very blurry. There's a lot of empty space in everything, a lot of empty space. And if you can start to see that part of your identity is actually the field itself, then you realize you're already connected to everything. And if you are already connected to everything, then the things that you want that you think are outside of yourself are actually already connected to you. And I have found if you go through the journey of manifesting things, it turns out that the things you want, you think of like, well, doesn't everybody want that? No, not everybody wants the things you want. You have a unique connection to those things because those things are also calling to you. And there's a certain definition of dharma there's like 70 definitions of dharma. So I'm sure if I define it, somebody's going to say like, this idiot doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, just give me some room here. But I think if you think of your dharma as kind of the authentic path for you that you are born into, and born into as in your biology, your time and history and all of that, there's a role and a function that you are serving now. You can serve a potential you have, every one of us. And it's different for every one of us. So if I say, I have this dream and I go to my brother and I say, I want to do this. What do you think? He says, I don't know. It seems fine. Doesn't seem really useful or inspiring. Well, it's your dream, not theirs. So there's no reason that somebody else can have the excitement about your dream. So if you can get in touch with the things you're excited about, then saying, I don't want this. Okay, I do want that. Without prioritize what you want. Okay, wow, that's the thing that gets you excited. And that I would wake up by 4 a.m. to do that because I would be so excited to go out and do that thing. Okay, that's the thing. And then it's like, well, I can't do, oh man, don't go that. No, I can't do that. No, you are the field. A part of you is already connected to that thing, that whatever, that environment. And what you're really after is the feeling behind that thing. So what you want to do is then say like, well, what is the feeling? If that thing were fulfilled right now, how would I feel? I would feel whatever, joy. I would feel loved. Whatever the thing is, I would feel empowered. I would feel healthy. I would feel strong. There's some feeling that is actually the thing that you're drawn to, that your dharma is trying to fulfill. And that changes through your life. It's not always the same thing. Now, if you use the same mental kind of methods that we've talked about to calm yourself and now amplify that feeling, you're now shifting your gaze towards that feeling. You're shifting the gaze of your heart towards that feeling. And now let your heart amplify and grow with that feeling in a calm and meditative way. And if you let that expand, now just stay in that feeling and need to travel to the future to experience it because it's in you. What you do is you maintain that feeling. That's your job. And you go out in the world, and if things do not support that feeling, you move away from them. If things support that feeling, you move towards them. And magical and mystical things, mystical as in invisible hands, come to help you in your life. Invisible hands you didn't know existed because you're trying to go from A to B, but B is not in front of you. It's way off around a hill and around a corner. Of course you don't know what it's going to look like because it's around the corner. If you knew what it looked like, you'd be there now. So what can you do? You can tune into your inner self and your higher self and let yourself connect to the field and connect the field through the emotion you want to amplify. And that is your compass. That is your compass. If my North Star is joy, then when I go out in the world, I say, I already am joyful. I am joyful. I am joyful. I am joy. Everything that resonates with joy, I will come in contact with in a crazy, mysterious way. Like it happens for people over and over. I see it in my life and other people's lives. If you can maintain the focus, magical things appear and your life becomes effortless.